Hi, this is Julie from El Mundo de Pepita, Resources for Teaching Languages to Children. And given that most of us are now in a situation where we are teaching in a new format, whether that might be live, online, or a recording to be put online, or even activities completely offline, such as paper or other activities, we are learning together how to do this. And or perhaps you're actually doing a mix of all of those activities. So I thought it might be helpful. Certainly I'm learning along with everyone else, but I thought it might be helpful if I shared with you some ideas for how you can use our resources in this new learning format. So today I'm going to share with you 3 activities that you can do with our printable play food. And you'll find the links if you don't already have our play food packs. I will be putting the links are in the description of this video. We have them in a variety of languages and also different types of play food packs, printable play food. So definitely look down there to see what we have. So the first activity that I'm going to share with you is a pretty simple activity that you can do, really geared more for upper elementary, middle school, or your novice learner. And the idea is that they need a piece of paper, and they're going to divide this into 4. The easiest way to do that is to just draw 2 lines, making 4 squares, like that. Okay, you could certainly have them just fold it in 4s as well. That's just as easy to do. And then in each of the 4 squares, you are going to put you're going to ask them to put a header. I like, in the target language, of course. I like, I really like, I don't like, and I don't know. And the reason why I suggest I don't know is because when we're speaking about food, it is pretty common that we might have some children who have not tried a food, and so therefore they don't know, and this just comes up all the time in my classes, so I always include that. You can, so when I left my classroom last week, I actually didn't bring a lot of stuff with me. I wasn't really sure what was going to be happening. So at home I'm a little bit limited in terms of my materials, which you may also be limited. So to help them with writing, you may write in big letters on a piece of paper for them to copy. Thankfully, I have a Post-it brand dry erase and easel pad that I use for presenting, which I just happen to have at home so that I can write on there and kids can copy. So one or the other might be a solution for you, especially if you don't have like a whiteboard at home or something like that. I always give my students limited time to do this writing piece. I might give them a minute or 2 and then start counting down to 10. This shouldn't really take that long to get that on paper, right? So then the idea is for you to hold up foods one at a time, and you ask them to put the food in the category that matches their preference, right? So you might hold up pizza, and I like to repeat these over and over again. So I would say, do you like pizza? Yes, I like pizza. Yes, I really like pizza. No, I don't like pizza. I don't know. And they're going to put the food in that particular category. I repeat these over and over again because those are the key vocabulary. The foods themselves, although important, aren't the target key vocabulary in this activity. It is those headers, which I like to come back to over and over and over again across my curriculum. So this is a great way to practice it in a new format. This also gives you the opportunity to be sharing with some foods that they may not be as familiar with. Because again, the food itself is not necessarily the target vocabulary. And a way to do that is, so again, you could be putting the name of the food up here for them to copy on your piece of paper or on your makeshift board. The other thing that they could do is they could draw it, okay? So especially if it's a food that's maybe not as familiar, they could just draw it instead of write it. So again, you're going through, you're holding up one food at a time, okay? Do you like kasha? Yes, I like kasha. Yes, I really like kasha. No, no, I don't like kasha. I don't know. This comes from our Russian food pack. Um, and so on and so forth. Popcorn. Yes, I like popcorn. No, I don't like popcorn. I really like popcorn. Oops, those. I don't know. Right? And so they're continuing to put these in the different categories, dependent on their preference. And at the end of the activity, I usually like to do 12, maybe 15 foods at a time. If you're doing Zoom, for example, if you're doing this live, then they can all hold it up to share what they've written. Otherwise, for example, in Seesaw, if you were using that, or Google Classroom, they could take a photograph of their finished graph, finished paper, and then send it to you so that you could look at it. One thing that's really great about this, like I said, if you only do maybe 12 to 15, is that all of our food packs come with lots of food, anywhere between 70 75 different foods. So you could do this activity more than once. You could choose a set of 12, you do it, the next lesson you might do another 12, and so on and so forth, so that you're getting to use the different foods through multiple lessons, which is really, I think, helpful. We're really trying to figure out ways that we can stretch what we have across multiple plans and multiple lessons. So this is a really great way to do that. And again, our goal here are those headers. My kids really like doing this activity. You could certainly do this with other sets of vocabulary as well. My kids love to do it with animals, like our forest animal pack. Do you like raccoons? Yes, I like raccoons. Yes, I really like raccoons. No, I don't like raccoons. Instead of I don't know, you might have a different header here for something that's not food. You might have I like it a little bit, or I absolutely hate it, or I love it, something like that, and so on and so forth. So that's activity 1. Again, you can get a lot of lessons out of just this one activity. Activity 2 is definitely geared for younger students. It's an activity I really love to do with my kids at school. And so, of course, now what we're having to do is modify that idea a little bit for an online format. So the game is What's Missing. Some of you, I'm sure, have played this game before. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very simple. So you put up a few foods, okay, on your makeshift board. So, apple, grape, pear, peach. Okay, so you've got some foods up there. They can see them. Normally in class, I would have my students close their eyes, but we're online. I certainly have no way of telling whether their eyes are closed or not. So the modification is that I myself would turn this around. I would remove a food, and then I would say, what's missing? Right? So the pear, the pear, you're right, the pear is missing. Okay? What I like to do with this is switch up the fruits a few different times, and then I start kind of playing with them a little bit, right? So instead of removing one food, I might remove 2 foods. What's missing now? Apple and the pear, right? I might take away 3 foods. I might take away all the foods. They really get a kick out of that, which is a lot of fun. Another thing that I really like about this is that I can start to add in some other kinds of vocabulary. Very simple. Again, this is really for novice low, right? So we're talking 1 or 2 words. Very, very simple, and again, definitely geared for little kids. Here I have 3 apples and some grapes. It could be anything. One of the wonderful things about printable play food is that you can print it out as many times as you like. So you can have 10 apples if you want. It's all dependent on how many times you print something out. So in this instance, what's missing? 2 apples, right? So now I've used, it's still the word apple, but I've taken away 2, so I'm integrating some numbers into that, just kind of like growing it a little bit for little learners. The in the food pack, there are, for example, green and purple grapes. So you could take away one of those grapes, right? So what's missing now? Grapes. Well, which grapes? I see grapes right here. Oh, now the purple grapes, right? So that you're integrating a color word in there as well. So it's another fun way to just add in a little bit different vocabulary. And as I said, because you can print these out multiple times, you could have 2 sets of green grapes, you could have 2 sets of the purple, 3, 4, however many you wanted, which is really just fantastic. So adds to what you can do with the play food and with the game to extend it. What I also love about this game, because kids really love it, you can play it multiple times. You don't have to limit yourself to just one lesson. You can play it for multiple lessons, which again, we're really in many respects, we're kind of scrambling a little bit to figure out what we're going to do for our lessons. So having a lesson plan or having an activity that you can do multiple times is, I think, going to be extremely helpful. Always has been in the classroom, and even more so perhaps for distance learning. I do want to say one thing about this particular activity. Let's say, for example, that you aren't doing a live lesson, you're doing a recorded lesson. You can still do this. So what you want to do instead, and you've probably seen this if you've watched Sesame Street or other videos for young students, when you take one away, right, so you turn it back around, one's missing, you say, "What's missing?" And then you pause. And you let the viewers think about it and try and come up with it in their own head. Now, obviously, you're not hearing it, but that's okay. And then you'll say, after a pause, "You're right, it's the pear." Okay? So even though you're not necessarily hearing, obviously you're not hearing the response, you're still providing think time, which hopefully is generating some response in their head, and then you're providing the answer, which is really, really great for little kids. And as you can imagine, this is a really great activity that can be done with all kinds of vocabulary sets. All of our resources, our theme packs, come with lots of different visuals, story cards and other visuals and puppets and that kind of thing, all of which can lend themselves to this activity as well. Okay, our third activity is also geared for... Actually, it's geared for any age, depending on the content that you put up on your board. You can modify it for younger or older students. I'll show you an example for little kids. And you can just write these headers in the target language. I happen to have these from a presentation I was doing. Okay, so in this instance, the headers are fruit and vegetable. I really love this one because it's content-based. It has a scientific component to it, which gives it just a little bit deeper learning than simply just the vocabulary. So you have the two. You can just write them as I said. Okay, so you're going to hold up a food. Okay, an apple. Is an apple a fruit or a vegetable? It's a fruit, right? Okay, is a pear a fruit or a vegetable? Fruit. Okay, we put that up there. Is cabbage a fruit or a vegetable? Vegetable. Put it up there. This is where I really love this, because now, is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable? It is a fruit. Many younger students don't know that. They think that a tomato, because it goes in salad, is a vegetable, but in fact any what seems like a vegetable but that has seeds on the inside is technically a fruit. And so we go over here. So that gives, like I said, a little piece of scientific addition content to this activity, which is really great for younger learners in particular. What I also love about this activity is that we're really working on the 2 or 3, however many headers that you have. These category words sometimes get lost in the mix when we're teaching food vocabulary, but they're really, really helpful for students when when they can't remember a word and they're trying to still explain it, or come up with something and tell you, they're working around the actual words. So category words are really helpful in so many different ways. So this allows you to do that, as well as to put some unfamiliar or less familiar words, foods here. They don't need to know the names of these. All they need are these 2 words, right? So it's very, very accessible for novice learners. With food, these headers could be all kinds of things. Obviously, in the target language, they could be breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. They could be cold foods, hot foods, foods for summer, foods for winter. They could be drinks and food. There's all different things that you could do, meats, dairy, fruits, vegetables, cereals, that kind of thing. There's just so many different ways. So again, what I love about this is that just by writing the headers, you can use the play food in a lot of different ways, so that you have multiple activities that you can do with the same play food. So those are the 3 activities that I wanted to share with you. And I'm hoping that they're helpful. I am hoping that they will spark some ideas for you. As I said at the beginning, links to our Play Food Packs are in the description for the video. And I really would love to hear your feedback or your thoughts. I hope that this is helpful. I'm going to try and do a series of these videos to give you some more ideas for resources that you may already have of ours, or ones that you say, wow, that would work really, really well for the situation I am in now. So please let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Bye!